I actually just recently invested a whole bunch into some crowns. At first I didn't think they were necessary, but my dentist assured me that they were. What's going on, YouTube? So today we finally have an update on the whole crown situation. Now the reason why I'm excited to talk about this is I can finally give you guys an update as to the new process for crown crates, how I think it will affect the economy of ESO for those of us who like to actually, buy crowns with gold and so on and so forth. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a sneak peek on how much people were actually making every time they purchased a bundle, and then a quick recap on what people were doing and how we got to this point. But if you're new to the channel, we are so close to 15,000 subscribers. If you would not mind, hit the subscribe bell. We do videos and content like this all the time because we like to answer the questions on ESO that don't usually get talked about or might not be fully updated in the ESO guide world. And we are actually going to start with ZeniMax's solution, which is an interesting one. So basically, you guys can see the outline steps here. You have to basically log in and use their actual web portal, which I'll show you guys how to walk through. Log into your ESO account, select the platform you're on, go through all this, and then who you are gifting it to. Now, the actual process to do this is not terrible, but what's more interesting is this. You must have one level character 50. To me, that's exceptionally interesting, and I can tell you why they're doing that. Your account must be in good standing, no violations in the last 6 months. I don't necessarily know what constitutes like a violation. Like, I've never had this problem before. I think the most common that I could probably think of is people who name their characters like Big Chungus or something. Your account must be 90 days old, and you must be gifting it to the same mega server. Now, you guys can read this here while I give the little synopsis here. So what was happening basically, and I'll do more of an in-depth breakdown at the end, but people were basically making burner accounts, and they were buying currency at a discount, and then they were gifting crowns out, and then they were taking that gold, and then they were selling that gold for US dollars. So what this new process does is it avoids you doing it on a new account, basically. So that way, if you do start to do this whole, illegal currency exchange, thing, then your actual main account is going to be caught a little bit more easily, because essentially they had no way to catch you, especially if you were smart using like a VPN or something like that. It could be very difficult if the gold never went to your main character and you just shipped it off and were selling it for money, and then you were buying more crowns at a discount and so on. So that's why it was so hard for them to catch them. And not to defend ZeniMax a little bit, this isn't necessarily something that ZeniMax is saying, oh, this is the biggest problem in the world. But let me tell you why this is problematic as someone who seen something similar happen on another game. But basically what's happening is people are laundering currencies through Elder Scrolls Online. They're converting one currency, pick a currency worldwide, the yen or the Australian dollar, and they're converting it to US dollars. And that's all happening without the oversight of the government or the platform that it's being done on, which means that Microsoft, in theory, could get in trouble from the government because essentially people are currency exchanging through their platform with no sort of oversight. And so I saw in the comments of the last video, people were saying that, ZeniMax is just cracking down on people because, they want to make more money and whatnot. Well, this solution actually doesn't say that. You can still live in a country where your currency is strong with crown crates. As long as it's your registered country, you are fine to do that. But you can't make burner accounts, and you can't currency exchange, and you can't turn that into US dollars. For those of you who don't know, in 2020, they really started to crack down, the IRS, on currency exchanges. That's when crypto and everything was really heating up, and people were making money on video games. So the government said, let me get some of this. And this is the ESO homepage here, and I've already signed in. So basically what you would do is you would just sign in, basically, and you would go to billing, which you guys can see here. You guys can pick your platform of choice. There's only one correct option, obviously. We are going to select the Mac option. Everyone plays on Mac, I imagine. And then I have a question, and then you just write in the little blurb, want a gift. You log in again. I guess I didn't actually log in. Or you might have to log in again. and then you would just fill out the little blurb that they request, which is the username and character name of the person receiving the crowns, just to make sure that they actually get it. So the new process is relatively simple. And what I would say too is that you can gift things on ESO that are not crown crates already, which actually leaves the economy in a really interesting spot, because it's like, our crown's going to go down in value now because people aren't going to be able to easily flood the market with them. There's going to be less people selling crowns more than likely, which means that less endgame players are going to be buying them because it's going to be harder for them to get those crown crates. So now, instead of people throwing all these crowns onto the market for crown crates, now selling crowns might just become buying a DLC outfit mount type situation, which means that the market for them is going to shrink tremendously. Because when I did my crown crate video, I mentioned that while I don't like crown crates, they are something that gives people an easy way to get into the game if they wanted, because you can sell a couple crowns that you get from your ESO Plus, and then boom, you've got a lot of gold that you can use to build up your characters. So while I don't like crown crates, they were kind of this necessary evil. Now the opposite could happen too, where you start in a situation where everyone now has all these crowns and can't sell them because people don't want to buy DLCs, mounts, outfits, etc., because they already have all those things, and they want to buy crown crates, but the process is too slow and whatnot. So that really remains to be seen, and this seems like it's a temporary situation. What I suspect is going to happen with this is that they're going to implement a patch that prevents you from selling crowns until you have a maxed out character, level 50 character, or you played for a certain amount of time. Once that patch hits the actual main console servers and whatnot, I imagine we'll be able to skip this process. This to me seems like a temporary solution. Now I'm going to do the scariest thing I've ever attempted, and that is I'm going to try to draw this for you guys, so that way it makes a little bit more sense. So what people were doing is they were starting out over here. You got little Timmy. He was basically making a whole bunch of Xbox accounts, or PlayStation accounts, or PC accounts. Little Timmy 1, Little Timmy 2, Little Timmy 3, and so on and so forth. Then, what Little Timmy was doing is he was setting all these accounts into a separate, country, a separate currency. We'll just pick, like, the Venezuelan dollar. So the Venezuelan dollar, with all these accounts, becoming Venezuelan, or whatever country he was doing. And then he would take these accounts onto the mega server, right? So let's just pretend that he's on console. That's where this most recent shindig had occurred. He would take these onto console, and he'd be buying crowns at a significant discount. And then he would actually be saving about 80% from his actual rate. So he'd be saving 80% on the crown store. And then what he would do is he would sell the, people, he'd make that dollarino. Hope this is very informative and you guys can clearly understand my graphics here. And then he would take that dollarino and he would actually sell it to websites, or he would sell it to players. They would sell that gold. And then he would then, for the US dollars, he could also buy, his original currency, but generally it was actually most advantageous to put it back into US dollars, and then he would then repeat the process. And little Timmy never had to use his actual main account. That's the beautiful thing about it. He could just keep making these extra accounts here and just keep doing this process. And it was very hard to catch little Timmy, because little Timmy was very smart. He kept making multiple accounts using VPNs, throwing all this money into the console server, and then selling it for gold, and then rinsing and repeating this process. About every time he would buy the maximum crown pack, he would make $20 back in USD. Imagine you're buying, these crown packs. These people are profiting off of these crown packs. And to me, that's what makes this whole process, ludicrous, in my opinion. Because little Timmy can essentially keep doing this. Not that he could do it for himself, he could do it for others, he could do it for profit, and that's what made this so crazy. And obviously, unfortunately, this would come back to bite them once they would get caught. And if you want my kind of assumption on how they got caught, It's actually how other platforms have been caught previously, and that is through PayPal. People will do all these transactions through PayPal because PayPal is a server where you can easily change your currency around, send money, receive money, and so on and so forth. What people don't know is that all gets reported to the government. And then the government will come back and say, hey, we noticed you were making all this money. How are you doing that? And then they might try to say, oh, well, I was, legally using, game mechanics that Microsoft has. And then, the government might turn to Microsoft and say, so people were doing some currency exchanges through your platform. Are you paying the proper, fees and licenses to, be a currency exchange? And they would go, nobody should be profiting off of our console platforms like that. And then they would go, oh, well, did you know this little guy named Little Timmy? He apparently was doing that. And they would go, whoa, 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 someone's got to stop Little Timmy here. And this is not the first game this has happened on. And I think that ZeniMax's solution just goes to show that they themselves are not trying to prevent this from happening, in the sense that, if you are in another country, you can still gift things to your friends, you could still play with them, you could still give them things. You just have to basically document that this is your currency, this is where you live. You can't make 50 accounts and, go through and do the same little method again. And I'm actually hoping that this inadvertently also cracks down on bots, because I know that on bots, they've been really getting, cracked down on an Xbox. So I'm hoping that they're really looking at that also, because it's the same problem, except instead of Little Timmy, making a whole bunch of accounts for, for this purpose, instead he's essentially just picking up all of our resources on console, and then he's then selling that for US dollars. And then he's then making, more accounts for that, using more burner accounts. And essentially the items don't even have to hit his account if he doesn't want them to. So hoping they're looking at that also, because while the crown thing, I think, really kind of might hurt players in that crown prices may go up, I do think that there's a good chance they go down. The raw materials also helps, or really hurts players too, because it's one of the easiest gold methods in the game to pick up raw materials. So new players coming into the game have an easy gold method. They just pick up the stuff off the floor, and then they can sell it for a really good chunk of money. Now on PC that remains true, because it's less profitable to bot on PC, so there's less bots on PC. When on PlayStation and Xbox, you go to the starter islands and they're filled with hooligans just picking up all the resources, and then you can freaking have to sell your draw waxes for like 3K. You could sit and farm waxes all day and still be broke. You probably make more money per hour scrying, which is... Ugh. But that is the actual method that people were doing. I hope this lovely illustration here really has sold it to you guys, and you guys are like, wow, now Jake, I understand. I wrote a little IRS with a frowny face here to really sell the graphic for you guys, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I took a little bit longer than I initially wanted to talk about this, because there's just so many like intricate things that go on with this, but I really wanted to hit home that I don't blame Microsoft, and I don't blame ZeniMax for this. If you're like me, and you kind of know the IRS tax codes, and you've had to really finagle and work with them, and you feel as though they deserve a frowny face, you know that they're probably the ones who are kind of saying, hey, you guys have to stop this. In the same way that, like, other games have had to remove certain features temporarily or altogether. If you're like me and you grew up playing Pokemon, they had to get rid of the Game Center. Like, there's just so many things that the governments essentially have done to basically say, you guys have to do this, you guys have to do this. If you want to have that, you got to do this. And I just wanted to make it clear that I don't think this is like ZeniMax's greed. I don't think that they're trying to prevent this from happening, because essentially, if you want to register your account as Venezuelan and you want to sell through Venezuelan dollars and, play through VPN, that's fine. You just can't make burner accounts. You just can't, sell your money for gold. You can't just utilize these brand new accounts anymore. So in that aspect, I think they're really saying, like, you just need to really kind of stick to your main accounts when you guys do this, that way that they don't get in trouble themselves. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Did this kind of clear things up here, this little perfect infographic? And we're doing our 3 giveaway drawings, 1 random comment, 1 random subscriber, and then a random word will be flashed upon the screen. So if you catch that word and you comment it down below first, you'll be the winner. It'll be flashed on a random video through the month of July. So, let me know what you guys think. I'll catch you later. Bye, guys.
You better remember to like and subscribe to Jake Clips. Or you should. I might have to pluck your eyes if you don't. Or, better yet, I'll skip rope with your entrails. Do it now. Subscribe. Ta-ta. Off with you.
Let me know what you guys think again. I'm actually very curious to see what you guys are thinking after this video was made. Definitely let me know if the infographic was helpful. I can do some more drawings again if needed. And if you like the shirt, this is an orange shirt. And I also realized too that in one of my cameras, by the way, I had my like afterglow with the camera behind me, and there's obviously like, you know, camera lens, whatever. That my hair was actually appearing more red in some of my videos, but my hair is actually blonde. I noticed I was getting a lot of comments about having red hair, and I was like, I don't have red hair. My hair is like pretty consistently pretty blonde. So just to end the controversy, I do have blonde hair.